Welcome to Building with Bud. Today we've got to look at cutting a roof rafter for a cut roof. We'll do it in layman's terms because that's all I know. Let's have a look, see what we can do. Right, so first of all I'm selecting a piece of timber, and what I've done when I've selected that timber, I've got the rafter all over except I slightly go like that, and we got to cut the plumb cut there, so that actually we've got to cut it that way. We're not got to cut it if we went like that and done it the other way. That's not what we want. We want that on the inside of the building and the tiles on top of there. So plumb cut there, and we'll cut the bird's mouth like so. So I'm over exaggerating, but off now they are straight, but a lot of them have just got a little divot in it. So that's what we've done. So that's what I've done for selecting my timber. And what I do is a little just to sort of make sure I know I'm definitely on the right page. I mark one up, and then I can check that I got my plumb cut as correct, look, and I got my seat cut. So I know, just a little bit of reassurance. You always just cut a dummy one, you can't go wrong, and you've got something to fall back on. So that's what I've done for start. So what we'll do now is we'll mark the plumb cut. We'll get my old get my magic black pencil, real carpenter's pencil, look, because obviously I'm a real carpenter. This is what we can do. So I'm going to cut that and mark in there. That's cool. Right, I've double checked. That's got to be my plumb cut. So we can see there, that's all marked. Now we'll get it cut. Don't force the saw, let the saw do the work. And leave as much of the line as you can. That's plumb cut. Right, so let's have a look. My measurement is 3/6/60. So we go there, put a little pencil mark there. So the next mark we'll put on is the plumb cut for the bird's mouth, so we'll get that there. Just get in there, pull that down like that. Now the next setup is we've got to measure 2/3 because this timber is 150. We'll go 100mm, put in there, and then we've got to mark the seat cut. So we'll get that like so. So that creates our bird's mouth. This piece here, so that's the plumb cut, and that is the seat cut there, and that will rest on the wall plate. So I'll show you later. So I think we'll get that cut. Now, if there's any youngsters out there, I always advise to just continue the marks down, but the trouble with that is because the timber is so cupped and twisted, that sort of really don't that throw all out sometimes. But just if you're learning, that's the way to go. You won't get all of it. I use it. Now I like to use a circular saw because that keeps everything so square. If you use a jigsaw, that just throws everything. I'll demonstrate to you in a minute. When you do a cut with on a bit of timber like this with a jigsaw, you don't get a square cut. Right, so to finish that off, get the handsaw. Corner, straight. There. square. So the crucial thing is when you're doing anything, you need this joint to be lovely and square. If I get a jigsaw in a little while, I'll just demonstrate using a jigsaw freehand. When you look down that cut, the blade twists, so you don't get a perfectly square cut. To be fair, it's come out quite good, but if I just go like that, you'll see that section there is going away. Well, you do that several times on your rafters and that's just that nothing sits right, so it's always best to use something, get it as square as you can by hand or with a circular saw to get you started. Okay, so we cut a bird's mouth and we've cut a plumb cut, and in the book that tells us we're ready to rock and roll, but in the real world that ain't quite right. So when we work on a building where there's a wall plate embedded on, I'll show you the problems we get. If we were to lift that rafter up there and try and fit it, that won't work, because you see this joint here and this brick that's in the way. What happened over the years, 4x2 has turned to something like 92mm, which is like 3 3/4, but the bricks are still 4-inch. So that's bedded on, and you got this bit at the back. So if you left your bird's mouth, look, that come down there, that hit that. So we now got to take a little snick out so that we don't catch. Always you'll pull it, that don't fit, and all it is because we had to allow for that little piece there. But that comes with experience. So let's tweak that now, and basically you just got to go by your eye. I know roughly what it is. I've got to go something like that. I want to just go the thickness of the wood, which is 45, 46. We'll keep it tight, we just give it something like that. You can use your jigsaw for this, because so this it's got no real bearing, it's letting you fit the timber. But as I say, if you get the book, that should work. It don't. So you've got to use your basics and adapt your situation. I'll put that loads of times, you put it there, you think, why won't it work, why won't it work? And you ain't done nothing wrong. That's just how the trade is now. So we've got actual sit on the wall plate, and that's the bit where the counter and the brickwork sits. That won't be in our way now. Okay, we'll get that one up next and have a look. I've over exaggerated, but it don't matter, because that's got no significance. That's the bit what counts. That's sit on there, and that's flush against the wall plate. Right, let's have a look, see how it went. We'll get that over there. That sits lovely, look. That's sitting there beautifully. We've got over that whole little detail there. That's not pretty, but that is what it is, I'm afraid. Okay, let's drop it in there. Yep. I'm over the moon with that. There's a mark. See a little rough ridge going there. So we've got that rafter in. Get him up, just slid down a little bit. We'll get that fixed. Superb. So we cut the rafter, detail on the bird's mouth, that's the plumb cut, that's all good, lovely. You can't do anything but that slight cupping in the ridge, so you never get that to scribe perfect. Just kick it off the other side. But there we are, that's a good job, that. So the key when we're cutting your rafters and working out is remember that all this always adds up to a 90. So if your seat cut is 40, your plumb cut must be 50. If your seat cut is 30, the plumb cut must be 60, and that's that simple. So you don't overcomplicate it, but always work it a little bit first. I always do it, and I've been doing it years. Right, just fix this rafter now. I'm putting a pilot. I'm using these hex screws. You can see there, look. They really get a good bite. Then we'll put several fixings there. We'll put a bolt through that. So I now mark my point again where I'm got that I need to create the plumb cut. The angle to go down. Get in there. Lay that flat. We'll get this bad boy on there. Wallop. And then we're 100mm. That's the maximum, because we can't cut that out more than a third. you find as you get around in the building trade that sometimes you have to adapt things. Like if you work on them principles, you won't go far wrong. You know, the rules are there to sort of be interpreted. That's what that's about. This is your starting point. So we now got the plumb cut there. Look, if you remember, our wall plate's got to sit like that, like so. Look there. Beautifully square, no twists, exactly what we're looking for. So that's our seat cut, there's our plumb cut, and that's how that sort of sits, just to give you a rough idea. Look, that's what you're aiming to get. And one of the keys to this, what we do, is you must have a good quality tape measure. Don't buy one of these pound things, that's no good. You want to read everything on the tape, and if your tape's getting worn, throw it away, buy another one. But always, the measurements don't lie, so if you mess up on your measurements, there's no sort of comeback to it. Always invest in good quality tape measure.